Hello everyone and welcome again to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about Ielts writing task 1 essays, but I'm going to actually cover the general version 1. So for the candidates who are about to apply or who have already applied for Ielts general test, you can stick around till the end to understand the right technique to score high in this specific section. Okay, so that's the IELTS writing task 1 essays. As you all know, in IELTS writing task 1 essays, they ask you to write a letter. The letter could be formal or it could be informal. Okay, so I'm going to show you the structure of how to write a perfect letter. I will explain to you how to go step by step, and I'm going to actually avoid, or I'm going to emphasize the mistakes that most students or most people might actually commit unintentionally during this specific section. Okay, so as you can see, IELTS sample letters, or how to write actually letters. Before I move on, let me just actually show you that we actually have some types of letter. So we have a request letter. We also, if we move here, I'm going to also talk about invitation letter, for example. So here, for example, we have, complaint letter, as you can see. So let me just go back. So we have some types of letter. I'm going to cover request letter, complaint letter, invitation letter, arrangement letter, or application or resignation letter, apology letter. So I'm going to show you all these types of letters to be able to get yourself familiar with the right vocabularies to use during the specific test, okay? So many students actually struggle to find the right vocabularies for the specific letter because they're not quite familiar with the type of this letter, okay? So I'm going to go step by step and show you how to write a specific letter at first, and I will show you the right wording style for that category of letter. So as you can see in here, let me just use my favorite. Okay, so as you can see here, I'll sample letters, how to write a request letter. So I'm going to actually start by request letter. So the IELTS sample letters in this lesson are about request letters, one of the 7 most common letter types in the general writing exam. In the lesson, I'm going to show you step by step how to plan and write a letter of request. Here is what it includes. So we have a question structure, letter structure, formal or informal, greeting and sign off, generating ideas, and sample letters. Okay, so I will show you what I mean. So first of all, let's just actually focus on the question structure. So all the questions for IELTS letters have the same structure. They are made up of 3 parts: the topic, the person you must write to, and what you should write about. Okay, so what you should write about usually comes in 3 questions in every single letter in the exam, okay, which is the 3 bullet points. That's what we call also. So here is a simple question for the request letter with the 3 parts illustrated. So we have a request letter. Let's read it together. You want to learn a language. There is a teacher near to where you live. Write a letter to the teacher. In the letter, say how you came to know about him, her. That's the first question. Explain why you want to learn. That's the second question, or the second bullet point. And the third bullet point, ask what help they can offer. So as you can see, you are requesting something, okay? So you are requesting to be taught from a specific teacher. So usually, by the way, as you can see, you have to have a paragraph answering every single question. So every question has to have a single paragraph. It doesn't always have to be like that, but sometimes you can mix 2 questions in 1 paragraph, but don't make it that long, just to show the examiner a beautiful structure. So because you need to make the examiner comfortable when he looks or when she looks at the letter. So understanding this will help you to quickly analyze the question and plan your answer. To help you plan, use the letter structure below. Okay, so that's a letter structure. The layout of your letter should follow the structure of the question and consist of 4 paragraphs with a greeting at the beginning and a sign off at the end. Use this as this easy to remember 6-part structure. So as you can see, you have to start by dear. It's either dear sir or madam, or it's either dear Mr. someone's family name, or you can start by dear someone's first name only. If you are writing to a friend, I will show you what I mean. So that's the greeting, okay? That's the first part of the letter. And then you have paragraph 1, which is the purpose sentence. You need to write a short sentence answering why are you writing the letter. So it's actually excluded from the questions, from the 3 questions. You have to write this yourself. So you have to write an intention or a purpose sentence saying, why am I writing the letter? And then we have paragraph 2, 3, 4. So paragraph 2, which is the answer of the question 1 or the first bullet point. Paragraph 3, which is the second bullet point, and the paragraph 4, which is to write about the third bullet point. And after that, we have sign off, which is yours sincerely or yours faithfully or kind regards, or if you are writing to a friend, you don't need to be formal. So then you can end by best of luck, see you soon, keep in touch. I'll show you in details very soon. So that should be your structure for all the letters, okay? So this structure applies to all types of letter or of IELTS writing task 1 essays, general version, okay? So now all you need to do is creating your plan, okay? So let's first, before we begin writing, we need to think about the answers, okay? So don't actually start writing immediately. You can first read you can first try to think about the answer for every single question. So the first one, dear, I'm going to mention the teacher name. You can make it up, by the way. Paragraph 1, purpose. So for example, let me think about a sentence to write. Okay, I might write this one. I'm writing to ask about language lessons, blah, 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 blah. Paragraph 2, which is the answer of the first question, say how you came to know about him, her. Explain why you want to learn and ask what help they can offer. So we have to think about answers of this one. Before thinking about the answers of paragraph 2, 3, and 4, let me just first, we need to identify the type of letter, if it's a formal letter or an informal letter. Your letter must be written in the appropriate tone and style. There are 2 options: formal to someone you don't know or don't know well, informal to a friend. It's essential that you are able to identify what type of question you are required to write. Follow this general rule. As you can see here, if the question includes the word friend or anyone in your family, then you have to use an informal language so that it's an informal letter. If the question does not include the word friend, so then use formal language. As easy as that. Don't make it complicated. I know now you might be wondering and say, what is the semi-formal one? I don't much believe in semi-formal letters. You can only make things easier by saying we have formal and informal letters. Trust me, you don't need to complicate stuff, okay? So it's that easy, it's that simple. It's either formal or either informal. I'll show you in details later on, or as we are actually moving. So we do not know the teacher in our question. So we will write a formal letter. This leads us on the opening of the letter, the greeting, okay? So as you can see, the letter that we are discussing right now, let me just go back to the letter. So that's the letter, as you can see. It's asking us, or it's requesting, so it's a request letter from someone that you don't know, from the teacher. So it's definitely a formal letter because you don't know the teacher. There's no mentioning of the word friend in the actual question, okay? So now let's go back. So now we have completely identified the type of letter, which is a formal one. Now let's think about the greeting. So there are 2 ways you can begin a formal letter. You can either start by dear sir or madam, if you don't know the name of the person you are writing to, or if you don't want to actually start by a name, you can just write dear sir or madam, or use dear plus surname. Okay, you can make it up if you don't know the name. For example, dear Mr. Smith or dear Mrs. Jones. Okay, so you can make it like that. So you can either start by dear sir or madam, or dear Mr. or dear Mrs., the surname of that person. Okay, so now in this specific letter, we will assume that we know the name of the teacher and make up a name for them. So I'm going to say, dear Miss Garcia. I just made it up, okay? So I'm free to do that. If you were writing an informal request letter to a friend, you would use the first name only. For example, dear Ben, okay? Don't write, for example, dear Mr. or dear Mrs. or dear Sir or Madam. If you are writing a letter to a friend, okay? You don't have to be formal. So you can just start by the first name of that person. But the letter that we are tackling right now is a request letter for the person that we don't know. So we just made up a family name of someone. So dear Miss Garcia. So the greeting you use will determine how you sign off your letter, okay? And I guess maybe many of you don't know that. So the way you actually write the greeting, it would affect the way you finish or you end the letter. That's what we call the sign off. So for the formal letter, there are two main options. The correct one will depend on who you are addressing. If you start the letter by dear Miss Smith, for example, if the name is known, so then you will have to end the letter by yours sincerely, okay? If you start your letter by dear Sir, Madam, which is an unknown name, so then you will have to end the letter by yours faithfully, okay? Or simply, you could use kind regards, which is a formal, friendly, and appropriate for most situations, okay? It's particularly useful if you are struggling to remember how to spell sincerely and faithfully, okay? So for example, if you forget which one I have to write, okay, so then you can simply say kind regards, okay? Or just follow that way. If you start by the name, dear Mr. blah, blah, you can end by yours sincerely. If you start by dear Sir or Madam, you have to end by yours faithfully. Okay, so try to actually follow that way. Many students use kind regards as they sometimes forget which one to use out of these two. Okay, so you can do whatever you want. So always sign off a formal letter with your full name. For example, Jackie Spade. You need to write your full name at the end. Okay, so for an informal letter to a friend, use one of these phrases followed by your first name. And I've told you this, if you are writing a letter to your friend, you have to start by dear, his first name, and then you end by something informal. For example, all the best, see you soon, keep in touch. It wouldn't make sense to end the letter by yours sincerely or yours faithfully or kind regards. You are writing to a friend, so you don't have to sound formal. Okay, so for example, all the best, Jackie. Anyway, for our sample letter, we will use this greeting and sign off. So I'm going to start the letter by dear Miss Garcia. I'm going to end it by kind regards, and then my full name, definitely, because it's a formal letter. If you are writing to a friend, you don't need to write your full name. You just have to write your first name only. So we are now ready to think up some ideas to write about. We have the guidelines of the 3 bullet points to help us, so this won't be difficult. However, how to generate ideas for the request letter. So the first step I have done is I thought about the greeting and the sign off, and I thought about the purpose sentence. Now, how to generate ideas. You only have to write 150 words, so you won't need many ideas, but do make sure that you write about each bullet point and develop each idea fully. They don't have to be the best ideas you can possibly think of. Go with your first thoughts and don't waste time trying to think of better ideas. However, they must relate directly to the bullet points, not them beside each bullet point on the exam paper, like this. You want to learn a language, there is a teacher near to where you live, write a letter, blah, blah, blah. So, for example, next to the first question, which says, say how you came to know about him, her. So I'm going to write that I saw an article on an advert in local paper. Okay, so just take some notes of the answer of every single question before you start the actual writing. For example, the second question that says, explain why you want to learn. So I'm going to mention something about, okay, volunteering in an orphanage in Peru for conversation. So I think that, so then, as you can see, if you are going to Peru, so then I'm looking for a Spanish teacher then. So you can make it up, okay? So as you can see, I made up even the subject of the teacher. So I made it up. So I made it as a Spanish teacher because Peru, they speak Spanish in Peru. Okay, ask what help they can offer. So I'm going to ask the teacher about time, frequency, and the price. So that's our planning complete. Once you've had some practice, you will be able to do this in just a few minutes. Taking time to plan makes writing IELTS letters far quicker and easier than if you don't do this step. You will also write a better letter and get higher marks. We are now ready to start writing our letter. So writing the letter, as you can see, we've thought about all the answers of the questions. Now let's begin the first paragraph. So in the first paragraph, you must state the reason for writing the letter, that is its purpose. So that's what we call the purpose sentence. So many students make the mistake of missing this purpose sentence out, but it's very important. Including it will gain you marks. So it only requires one sentence. For example, I am writing to inquire about taking Spanish lessons with you. As simple as that. Top vocabulary tip: do not use contractions in formal letters. They are informal language. So do not write writing to inquire. You have to write I am. Okay, I missed to write this. So you can't write you have to write I am. Okay, so let me just try to. So you can't say you have to say, yeah, you have to say I am. Okay, so you can't, okay, so you can't use if you are writing a formal letter. You can use this if you are writing an informal letter. So you can't use contractions. You need to actually write the whole letter. So you can't say, for example, she's. Okay, like for example, so you can't say she's. No, you can't do it. You have to write she is. Okay, so you have to avoid contractions when you are writing a formal letter. Sorry. So try to actually remember this. Now let's move to paragraph 2. So in the second paragraph, you write about bullet point 1. Remember to keep the language formal for this question. Aim for around 50 words for each of paragraphs 2, 3, and 4. So, so as you can see, paragraph 2, which it asks you about, say how you came to know about him, her. So I'm going to mention that I saw an article or an advert in local paper. So let's see what I can write. So I've actually written this. I read the article about you and saw your advert in this week's local paper. And I believe that you are just the person I am looking for. I am particularly keen to learn from a native speaker like yourself. So I do hope that you have space in your timetable to fit me in for some lessons. So I guess it's an amazing answer. Okay, so you don't have to make it complicated, so it's quite easy. In paragraph 3, the third paragraph, which is the answer of the second question that says, explain why you want to learn. Let's see what I'm gonna write. My reason for wanting to learn your language is because I will be traveling to Peru for 6 months next year to volunteer in an orphanage. I really want to be able to talk to the children and understand them. So Spanish conversation is my priority. It's an amazing explanation or an amazing elaboration on the answer. Now for the last question, which is paragraph 4, ask what help they can offer. Let's see what I'm gonna write. Okay, so let me just highlight this. I would be grateful if you could let me know what availability you have for lessons. Twice a week would be ideal if that is possible. I work in the evening, so daytime would be fine. Please, could you also tell me what you charge for tuition and how long each lesson would last? So you can propose questions, okay? So you can actually pose questions actually, okay? Because you need to ask what help they can offer. So you can actually use questions in your paragraphs. It's fine, it's still a letter. So now we just need to add the sign off we decided on earlier, and our letter is complete, okay? So that's the finished letter again. So let's read it together. Dear Miss Garcia, I am writing to inquire about taking Spanish lessons with you. I read the article about you and saw your advert in this week's local paper, and I believe that you are just the person I am looking for. I am particularly keen to learn from a native speaker like yourself, so I do hope that you have space in your timetable to fit me in for some lessons. My reason for wanting to learn your language is because I will be traveling to Peru for 6 months next year to volunteer in an orphanage. I really want to be able to talk to the children and understand them, so Spanish conversation is my priority. I would be grateful if you could let me know what availability you have. Twice a week would be ideal. If that is possible, I work in the evening, so daytime would be fine. Please, could you also tell me what you charge for tuition and how long each lesson would last? I look forward to hearing from you soon. That's an ending sentence, by the way. It's good to have an ending sentence, okay? And remember that after I look forward to, the verb has to be in ing. So it's something conditional. You don't forget that. So I look forward to hearing from you soon. Or for example, I look forward to hearing your positive response. Or I look forward to receiving your reply. Okay, so you can use a lot of ending sentences. Ending sentences are highly recommended in your or in most types of letters. I will show you more ending sentences with other types of letters. Anyway, kind regards, Jack Spay. As you can see, we've reached 183 words, okay? So we've reached 183 words in this specific one. So it's not that complicated as you can see. It's quite easy. I have answered every single question thoroughly, and I have used a lot of good words. Let's just focus on the vocabulary in this specific lesson. So for example, we have the word inquire. It's a good verb, okay? We have advert is a good word, actually. I am looking forward. So that's a verb tense, present continuous. Particularly is a good word. Keen is a good word. Native speaker is a good word. We have volunteered is a good word. Orphanage is a good word. Conversation is a good word. My priority is a good word. Grateful is a good word. Availability as well. Ideal, perfect means perfect. Possible is actually a good word. Tuition, charge for tuition. Okay, last. Okay, so as you can see, I'm trying to show you how beautiful the vocabularies are. So you try to actually take notes of these vocabularies to be able to use them in your letters. Okay, amazing vocabularies. And as you can see, also the verb tenses were amazing as well. And yes, so it's I would actually rate this, or I would actually score this as 9. Okay, so it's a 9-band score, or a 9-band letter. Okay, so it's an amazing one. So I hope that you have understood the specific one. Now let's move to another type of letter. Okay, so now we need to move to, okay, we have a practice question now, as you can see. So that's a practice question that says you are going to visit the town where your friend went to university. Write a letter to your friend. In your letter, explain why you will be visiting the town, give details of where you will be staying, and ask your friend to recommend some evening entertainments. So as you can see, that's actually a practice question. So try to do this on your own, okay? So it would be amazing to try to do this on your own, because that would help you understand, or that would help you apply what you have taken in this lesson. Okay, so try to apply the technique of what I have just shown you to be able to answer properly. Now let's move to complaint letter. So that's our second type of letters, which is complaint letter. So in this lesson, I show you step by step how to write an IELTS complaint letter. These come up regularly in a general writing task 1, so you need to know how to plan and write them. Here is what the lesson includes. Okay, so I've actually showed you this again. Let me just actually move to the actual question. So there is a problem with the changing rooms in the sports center that you visit. You have complained several times, but with no success. Write a letter to the manager of the sports center. In your letter, describe what the problem with the changing room is. Say what happened the last times you complained, and explain what you want the manager to do. So as you can see, it's a complaint letter. You are about to complain about a specific matter or a specific situation. So let me just, I've already shown you the structure of every single letter. Let me just actually move to this section, and it's a formal letter. It's definitely a formal letter, and I think you know that because you are writing to someone that you don't know. We don't have the word friend in our question. So I'm going to skip all this all this information again because I've already showed you this. Or I've already shown you this. Now, let me just focus on the questions, on the answers of the questions. So as I told you, before you start writing, try to take some notes next to every single question before you start the actual writing. So for the first question that says, describe the problem with the changing room, I'm going to mention that the toilets are dirty. What happened the last times you complained? I'm going to mention that I have been promised that the problem would be addressed. Addressed means solved or resolved. Explain what you want the manager to do. I'm going to mention something about rota list for staff to check every hour and sign. Okay, so I've thought about the main ideas that I'm going to write in my actual essay. Now it's time to actually move to start writing. And as you can see, even in paragraph 1, the purpose sentence, I've already thought about the purpose sentence as well. So I'm going to write this one. I'm going to complain about the sports center changing room, for example. So before I move to paragraph 1, by the way, because it's a complaint letter, so we have a specific way to start any complaint letter. So you can either start by, I am very unhappy with or about. I am writing to complain about, that's the most common one. I am extremely dissatisfied with or about something. I write to express my disappointment about or with blah, blah, blah. So you can use any of these sentences to start your first sentence, which is the purpose sentence in the first paragraph of your letter. Okay, so in this specific one, as you can see, I'm going to write this. So I am writing to complain about the state of the toilets in the sports center changing room. So that's the first paragraph. Okay, I've written the purpose sentence. Now we have to move to paragraph 2, which is the answer of the first question that says, describe the problem with the changing rooms. Let's see what I'm gonna write here. Okay, I'm going to highlight this. So describe the problem with the changing rooms. Each time I have used the changing facilities in the past month, okay. So each time I have used the changing facilities in the past month, the toilets area has been dirty. Particularly unpleasant are the soggy paper towels on the floor. Let me just zoom it again. Okay. So the soggy paper towels on the floor, they look horrible. And there is a danger that people could slip on them. The shower plug holes are also frequently blocked up with hair, which stops the water draining away. As you can see, we have a lot of strong words in this specific paragraph. First of all, we have a changing facilities. So changing facilities is actually a good one, isn't it? Changing facilities. It's a good word here. We have also has been, so that's the present perfect. It's good to actually use various verb tenses in your essays, okay, on your essay, even if it's writing task 1, it's okay, you can do that. When you use various verb tenses, you would show the examiner that you are able to use a perfect body, or a perfect sentence or an academic sentence. So we have even the adverb, particularly using adverbs are actually a good way to reflect your ability to write a strong essay. So unpleasant, soggy, unpleasant, which is not pleasant, means not good. Soggy paper means wet, sort of like wet. Amazing adjectives, as you can see, these two adjectives are quite actually powerful. We have horrible as well, slip on them, blocked up. It's a good adjective, draining away. So as you can see, the wordings here, the wording is just fascinating, okay? Moving now to the second question that says, what happened the last times you complained? So what happened? Let's see. I have reported this issue on 2 previous occasions. The first time I told a member of staff, and the second time I telephoned. But the people I spoke to said that they would make sure that the changing rooms were cleaned more often, but this is clearly not happening. As you can see, the use of verb tenses in this specific paragraph is just intriguing, is just captivating. So I have reported, that's a present perfect. We have I told, that's a past simple here. I telephoned, past simple as well. I spoke, past simple. Said, past simple. Would, which is the modal verb, the modal past simple verb. We have were cleaned. Okay, that's the passive form. Okay, not happening. So that's the present continuous. So as you can see, we have used many verb tenses in one single paragraph, but we have used them in a very correct way. And that's what's beautiful about sounding very fluent when you are writing, or very professional and proficient when you are writing in this style. Okay, and we have a lot of good words. Reported is a good verb, is a strong verb. Two previous occasions, amazing words. The first time is a very is a beginning, or is an opening word for the sentence. It's amazing, by the way. And but it's a good word as well. We have but, conjunction word. Conjunction words gives more meaning, or give more meaning to your sentences. So amazing paragraph. Now moving to the last question that says, explain what you want the manager to do. As a solution, here we go. So that's the answer. As a solution, I suggest, amazing. As a solution, I suggest, it's a good way to start your paragraph, because you have to suggest something, because you have to tell the manager what he should have to do. So as a solution, I suggest that you set up an hourly rota where a member of staff has to check that the toilets are clean, sign to say that they have done so, and arrange for the cleaner to come if necessary. I have seen the system in operation in other places, and the toilets are always clean. Amazing. I suggest is a good word, but actually a strong verb. We have also, they have done, so that's the present perfect. Also, we have, I have seen, that's the present perfect. And also we have are always clean, that's the present simple. So as you can see, we have a lot of good verb tenses here and good words in operation. The system, I have seen the system in operation. It's a strong phrase, it's a strong verb. As a solution, I suggest a strong clause sentence. Okay, so arrange for the cleaner. If necessary, which means important. Necessary is an adjective. It's a strong adjective. So as you can see, we have used some academic words. You don't have, by the way, if you don't know how to use these words, you can use other words, but you need, as long as you are answering the questions in a good way, then you can score high in the specific letter. Okay, so that's the full letter, as you can see here. We've reached about 194 words. And yes, so we started by dear sir or madame, you can do it. And we ended by yours faithfully, as you can see, because we didn't mention the name. As I told you, if you start by dear sir or madame, you will have to end by yours faithfully and then your full name always. We've reached 194 words, and that's amazing. And we don't have an ending sentence. It's fine. You don't have to always have an ending sentence for every single paragraph. You know, the one that says, I look forward to blah, blah, blah. We don't have the sentence here. It's fine. It's okay, because you are complaining. So whatever you want, you can have it, and and if you don't want to have it, it's up to you. I actually recommend to have an ending sentence, but because we've reached a good amount of words, so that's why maybe I missed it. I didn't want to write it, okay, because I felt that it's not important, because I've already reached the right word counting, okay, or the right word count. So yeah, that's it. Now you have this practice question. As you can see, it says you live in a room in college which you share with another student. There are many problems with this arrangement and you find it difficult to work. Write a letter to the accommodation officer at the college. In the letter, describe the situation, explain the problems and why is it difficult to work, and say how you would like the situation resolved. So as you can see, that's a practice question. I want you guys, please, to try to write the letter for this practice question down in the comment section, or you can just, by the way, send it to my email, which is madmado@gmail.com. 21418@gmail.com. Okay, you can contact me on Instagram or whatever you want. I will reply to you. I will correct it to you personally, by the way. Okay, so I'm here to help you guys. Don't worry. I'm trying to help as much as I can of students. So if you want, you can write the answer of this letter and send it to me in the comment section or by email or on any social media platforms, and I will reply to you individually. And also, we have another practice question for the request letter. So let me just go to the request letter. Let me just go up to the request letter. So that's the practice question for the request letter, as you can see. Try to screenshot this and screenshot the one down, so you would be able to actually answer them. Okay, so I'm going to actually write these two practice questions in the description section. Okay, so you can check these questions in my description section. You don't have to screenshot it. So you can check my description and check the questions. And all what you have to do is try to write at least one of these letters to be able to score high in your letter or in this specific essay. So I've just covered two. I'm going to cover even more and more. I'm going to upload more videos about IELTS Writing Task 1 essays, general versions, which is the letter. Okay, so I want you, please, guys, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and activate the bell button to help receive all my upcoming uploads. I wish you all the best, guys, and I look forward to seeing you again on my platform. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Thanks again. See you very soon.